Now, Mehdi Hasan is from the Intercept, and you may know, and I covered his back and forth, the lengthy back and forth with Kyle Kalinske of Secular Talk. But he sort of seems to have gone off the deep end. Now, he wrote a piece saying, "Dear Joe Biden, here's why you should pick Elizabeth Warren as your running mate." Um, and basically, what he explains is that, oh, you said you're planned on picking a woman, and the best candidate is Elizabeth Warren because she's a progressive, saying, it says, of course, I have my own agenda here, like plenty of others on the left. The reason I want Warren on the ticket is to keep you in check while continuing to push for policies like universal health care, something Biden doesn't support, an end to the filibuster, and a wealth tax. And I don't believe Biden has a wealth tax on his policy proposals. She's a progressive. You're not. False again. Elizabeth Warren is not a progressive. Saying that she's popular when she lost in her own home state. And it's really hilarious. Warren has charm, people skills, a common touch. Really weird stuff going on here. Because obviously, and he's saying it's better than, I guess he's saying it's better than Bernie as well as being the pick, which is pretty insane. She's got a plan, a really cringy statement for, these really random things that she puts out that aren't even really serious policy positions. This is basically a love letter to Joe Biden telling him to pick Elizabeth Warren. But it's one of the most out of touch things I've seen in quite a while because Elizabeth Warren's not a progressive in any sense of the word. She literally went back on her supposed promise about super PACs. You remember that, right? It's funny that I even have to explain this to people. She literally had the biggest super PAC in the race, where her one super PAC, $14 million came from, almost all of the funding came from one person, a private physician in California. It was a Hillary Clinton volunteer. All right? One person, the antithesis of that whole thing. All of the 14 million came from one person. She backtracked on literally everything. She started waffling on Medicare for all. She sat out when Biden and Bernie were going at it against each other. She also, I actually blame Elizabeth Warren a lot for the tanking of Bernie Sanders because I think that, and his campaign definitely thinks this, is that Elizabeth Warren actually inflicted long-lasting, permanent, irreversible damage to his campaign by damaging his favorability amongst women. And it also, if you recall the timing of that, it's almost like it was planned, honestly. It's kind of ridiculous now that I think of it, how stupid it was. But she comes out, alleges that Bernie Sanders is sexist, smears him, right, which is crazy. And then it forces this sort of beef, which should have never happened in the first place. Because what happened at that time? That time was a key, crucial time, and Warren and Bernie are just, they're beefing hard, they're just nonstop, pounding. And then who's hiding? Joe Biden. And so it never got the knockout punch in for Joe Biden's campaign to end it. Instead, you have Elizabeth Warren and Bernie beefing over this dumb thing in which it's Elizabeth Warren's fault because she made up a quote about Bernie Sanders. All right? And so it's her fault. And again, it almost seems like it was planned. But she's not a progressive in any sense of the word at all. And she's not going to pull any progressive. What's even funnier, and actually, let me say this. I hope Biden does pick Elizabeth Warren. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to pick Gretchen Whitmer or Amy Klobuchar. But if he does pick Warren, I'll be really excited because that's a surefire loss. I mean, you couldn't even ask for a better opponent for Donald Trump. You're talking about having Joe Biden, the guy who can't even speak and doesn't know where he is. And then on the vice president slot, you've got someone who's lied about literally everything under the sun, first of all. But in addition to lying about everything under the sun, she literally lied about being a Native American for years. Like, Donald Trump is begging for Joe Biden to pick Elizabeth Warren, similar to how he was just praying that Hillary Clinton wouldn't pick Bernie Sanders as a VP. The same exact thing. So the idea that this is like that Elizabeth Warren's a progressive or that she's going to pull any progressives is hilarious. And I have to say that Mehdi Hasan is really out of touch, man. And he's sort of broken his brain, I guess. This whole Trump stuff has broken his brain.